G'day and welcome to the channel. Crypto, is it the last chance? That's the question on everyone's mind, right? Is it the last chance to get in before the bull run, hitting the peak, making those life-changing gains? Or is the market going the other way and is it the last chance to get out before you lose your shirt? Well, hopefully in this video, I can put your mind at ease a little bit. I can show you some indicators and things that tend to make me feel like that bull run is still in play and still coming, and it'll help you as part of your own research to maybe make decisions, look at some different indicators that maybe you're not looking at now, maybe give you some information that you weren't aware of. But anyway, let's get into it. Just got to put my seeing eyes on. I can't wear them when I use the other camera. I tried a few times, but too much glare comes on them and it messes with the camera. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's have a look at the long-term holders actively accumulating Bitcoin. So cryptorank.io, I've mentioned them before in some of my videos. I follow them on X. I go in and look every day at the things they've posted. They've got some really good information, really good market information. And it's not just all Bitcoin related. They show you stuff like recently it was, stablecoin usage on the Ethereum network, or, what memes are running or whatever. But there's a lot of information in there. What this one does tell us though is, look, we know the price dropped the beginning of this year. We can see that, the holders' supply, so that's not the price, that's the supply for the long-term holders, sort of bottomed out. Now they're reaccumulating. Okay, so we're seeing those wallets increase in their holdings of Bitcoin. They are good at understanding the market. We know that those wallets do go down when the market dumps. We're seeing those go up. That's an indicator to me that the bull run wasn't what we just had with the peak in January. It says to me it's still in play. Dominance. So we know that Bitcoin dominance historically has dropped and dropped down to, and I'll look at something in a minute on it, but it drops down to around 40, let's call it %. But you can't wait for it to hit an exact percent in my mind, but it drops from where it is. Now we've seen in May where it peaked at around 62, let's call it 61.5, and we can see that dominance start to come down. When we see that dominance start to come down, and by previous cycles, it says to us it's still got a long way to come down. We know that that's positive when we're seeing that come down. It's positive for the altcoin market generally, because funds will normally move from Bitcoin into those other alts, starting with like your Ethereums and your top tier blue chips, if you want to call them that, Solanas, Sui, Cardanos, those sorts of things, will then filter down to the other ones. Things like Casper or Render or, Tau, Potenza Tau, things like that. And then down into your degen plays. So, and we're yet to see that play out completely at the moment. So that's something for us to keep an eye on as well, which says to me, I'm still positive. Spot ETF. So, these guys have been doing this stuff a long time. Markets in general. They know what they're doing, and I know these are their investor funds, but reality is we are seeing that continue to grow, right? We've gone through, it came off a little bit as that price dropped, and they're all drivers of the price, but then we're starting to see that escalate again, which says to me, we don't have this information for previous cycles, obviously, because they didn't have the Bitcoin ETFs or Ethereum ETFs, but what we're seeing, this is the first cycle with it, but we are seeing that number go up. To me, that's a bit of an indicator as well of where we could be headed, okay? So another positive indicator for me. Okay, the dominance, as I spoke about previously. So the dominance is this red line here. Now, if we look back at previous cycles, if you like, so let's reset this zoom, come back here, 17, we got down to 38, 39, and then around that time also 34. We then had the 21 run, so we know it got up to the 70s. Let's call it 70. Don't need to be exact. But then, in that year dropped down to 39. So 39, 40, around that number. So it's still pretty low, same as prior ones. It's around that number. Now, we know that we've just probably peaked for this one. Maybe not, but if we have, we're starting to see that start to come down as well. Whether it continues that trend or goes back up and then down, I don't know, but we need that to come down, in my mind, to have the bull run that most people are expecting and previous cycles have had based on that data. So again, for me, I feel we're seeing that start to come down. I think obviously we're going to see that come down more, would be my mind. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just to give you some ideas and things to look at and work out your own strategy and your own research. But that's what I'm thinking when I look at that chart. The other one I like to look at is this one here, the Logarithmic Regression Rainbow. Now, I like this one because with the bands, right, there's 13 bands, the bottom one being the bottom pink or purple and the top one being the red, okay? Now, back here in 11, it hit band 12. So remember that. In 13, it hit band 10, so I dropped 2 bands. In 17, it hit band 8. Okay, so it dropped another 2 bands. So 12, 10, 8. Here in the 21 cycle, the first one, how we had the double top, the first one hit band 6. So it's 12, 10, 8, 6. The second one was in between 5 and 6. So however you want to look at it, we're not doing exact science here. You're never going to pick the top, you're never going to pick the bottom. But going on the 2-band theory and feeling like we're still in the bull run, and we'll look at an idea for timing, as I said. I'll do that next. But at the moment, all the other ones were in November, December. So if we do that and we do the 2-band drop each time, we're going to be at band 4. And let's say it was November, whatever, on that day, right? It's going to be somewhere around 190 December to 200 would be your Bitcoin price, which a lot of people are calling for. I'm still probably around that 160-ish range in my mind, but I'd prefer not to have hopium, prefer not to expect it to hit a particular price, then you're not disappointed. But also, I don't make decisions based on a price of a token. I make decisions based on indicators, because I got caught making decisions on prices in the last cycle with some of my bags, and I won't do it again. I've got my strategy and I'm sticking to it. Now, if it was to be September, let's say in September, it would be 180. So still good. No one's going to complain with 180K, right? And October would be 190. So 180, 190, 200. Neither here nor there. If you've been in it for a while, you've been accumulating during the bear market. You know, if you were buying it at 15K, congratulations. And those getting it previous to that, even better. Number go up, okay? But one of the things I think is interesting is I just sort of threw this together quickly to have a bit of an idea what's been playing out in previous cycles and what could we expect if it was played out similar. Now, this is all just fun and games. There's no science behind this. It's just looking at previous cycles and going, if that happened, it's like people talking about a meme coin and saying to you, it's going to 1000x because if it, SHIB got to this market cap and if this got to that market cap, it would be this price. It's a load of rubbish, right? It's not going to go to SHIB's market cap. So just be careful with meme coins to start with, because I just see so much of that, it irritates me. But this one here is more scientific than that one, I would hope, because it's on a market duration, not just a finger in the air, but it's still a bit of a magic 8 ball, if you know what I mean. Anyway, looking at the 2017 cycle, the bottom, before we hit that peak, the bottom was January 14, 2015, and the peak was December 17, 2017. Some people say December 4th, 13 days. I'm not fussed. This isn't even scientific anyway. But based on this, it's 168 days between trough to peak, okay? Bottom to peak. Or it's 155, depending on which date you take. So 155, either way. The next one, the 2021 cycle, 2018 to 2021, the bottom was December 15, 2018, and the top was November 10, 2021. Now that was 161 days. So it's somewhere around there. Let's go, first one you can go 155, next one's 161, and the other 17 was 168. So let's go anywhere between 1,055 and 1,068. Anywhere between there would be fine. If we overlay that onto the current cycle, we know the bottom was November. Let's give me a date of November 21st, 2022. Don't care if the day's exact or not. But let's say it's November, because people will go, oh, you know, CoinMarketCap said this, CoinGecko said this. I don't care. November 21 is what I'm going to use for this. What we're then doing is we're overlaying those assumptions. 1,061 days, 1,068 days. It brings us to October 24th of October, or the 17th of October. Either way, October. More importantly, it flows into my assumption and other people's assumptions that you see of a Q4 top. Whether it's October, November, December, I don't know. And no one knows. And if they tell you they do, they're lying. But I will be focusing heavily as we hit, probably by September, even more so. But I look at them every day, but I'll be probably actually going into them a lot deeper. My indicators and stuff, my exit strategy, which will probably start before then anyway. It gives me a roundabout area to go. I need to be on the ball during this period and living and breathing this to make sure I don't stuff it up, because 4 years is a long wait, and it's an emotional roller coaster. If you've been through the last bear, you'll know what I'm talking about. But some people are saying it's going to be Q1 26, Q2 26. Some people are saying Q3 this. It could be any of those. It could absolutely be any of those. This is just a few things I thought I would show people to help them in their decision making, in their research, in their strategy potentially setting, and just to give them an indication, maybe some things they're not looking at that maybe they could look at. Look, really, the whole purpose of it was really just to get people thinking, I guess, especially those that are like, have we had the top? Have we not had the top? And maybe help you come to a conclusion on that, and come to your own conclusion. If you think the top was in January and you want to get out of the market, get out of the market. You're the only one that can make that decision. It's your money. It's your portfolio. A couple of things I would like to add as we come to this time is set your strategy. Use whatever information you need. Listen to a bunch of influencers. Go and listen to a lot of people's exit strategies. Find something that works for you. It might be someone's strategy. It might be a combination of everyone else's strategies. It might be something no one else has even done or thought of. Do you. You do you. Again, also, just remember, patience in this market is key. It's the FOMO. It's the FOMO for getting in and getting out that can get you. Once fear gets into this market, it can be a killer. People will tell you all these prices, all these tokens that are going to. They don't know. No one knows. So if your strategy is to wait for a price, great. That's up to you. I mean, I don't use that strategy because I've tried it and got burnt on last time, as I said. If your strategy is to use indicators or a variety of indicators, then do that. But whatever your strategy is, stick to it. So if your strategy is price and they go, this token is going to get to $2 and I'm going to sell at $2. When it gets to $2, if the hype around it's massive and everyone says it's going to $10, stick to your strategy, or at least sell half of it at your strategy, or have a strategy where you keep a moon bag. I don't know, but it's up to you to stick to your own strategies. but it's so easy to get caught up in the hype. Crypto is such a mental game. The mental side of it is the hardest side of it, obviously, and that's why it's not easy. And if you come through this market and you do well, everyone's going to go, "You're so lucky with that." No, I wasn't lucky. I worked hard. I studied. I did my own research. I stuck to my strategies. All these things other people can't do. So keep that in mind. The other thing, probably one of the most important, is have a plan for if something happens to you, that your family or whoever that is, your partner or whatever it is, can get access to your crypto. So whether you write a plan, whether you show them where it is, whether they're in crypto anyway, or you have a plan and you have the seed phrases and whatever you have, make sure that somehow, whatever that is, you might just put it in a safe deposit box with a letter explaining it all, and someone that can help them get that off, or whatever, that you obviously trust. But just have a plan in place for that as well, because I don't think enough people do that or think about it. And quite often in relationships, or that one partner will be into crypto and the other one wants nothing to do with it and has nothing to do with it. So just think of those sorts of things. But look, anyway, the objective of this is just to get people thinking, to maybe give them some ideas of some things they weren't already looking at, or add a bit more to their arsenal to help them through this run I feel is coming up. And hopefully it's done that. Look, if you have got value out of it, just make sure you hit the like button, smash that subscribe, and click the bell notification, just so you're notified when I do release my videos. I want to do a lot more of these sorts of videos, I think, where I'm just giving some tips and some information and some things that people maybe aren't thinking about, to help people just get in that mindset and maybe take something away that they can go and dig into further. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm more than happy. I read all the comments. I'm more than happy to come back with anything if I can help you. But yeah, that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one.